I'll tell you something interesting. Something interesting about guys sitting far away. Shaya, if ever in a speech you're trying to scream, it's a loud room, somebody's talking, you're trying to scream, Kimat, the whole speech, the ability to speak, Kimat is not existent. Kimat. I don't speak in the dining room by Sudas. Any type of public speaking, you want to maintain that we're talking together. There's nothing wrong with being prepared, having things you want to say, but you want to be present when you speak. I want to feel what I'm saying. I don't want to be my kids call it talking head. If you're screaming, I want to say you're screaming, it's very, very hard to be present. A lot of a speaker, there's something called tonality. Tonality is when a speaker goes higher and lowers and excited. That's a normal thing. You're not always excited when you speak. There's a point that gets you fired up, and a lot of listening to a speech is the tonality. Up, down. Automatically, Ellie, you're screaming. Somebody's back. Rabbi, you're trying to scream. You can't be present. It's like you're just constantly trying to get out something. So it helps if the Chevra is closer. Helps. I want to welcome Ellie back. Ellie Kaplan back to the ship. I want to express on Ellie that his own journey is a beautiful journey, really, really beautiful. Every single thing we speak about the beauty of Waterbury, that somebody can have an honest journey, find what he likes, finds what he doesn't like, finds what attaches to his soul. The way Eli is processing and has processed his story is magical. It doesn't mean the goal of Waterbury is not, you're not there when you graduate. It's a lifelong, and a Neshama on this earth should be here a long time. It's a very beautiful thing in Neshama here, but we're capable of finding real spaces, of finding things out, figuring things out. We have a beautiful light, and it's a beautiful journey, the Neshama here. I just appreciate the honesty, the way he's processing his story in a very, very beautiful way. So it's very exciting. You're back. We're happy. We're plugged in again. What I want to do, Ellie, today, Shemi, Yaakov, I want to put our minds together to really study. There's a Rashi I've been bothered by before. I'll be honest, the Parsha this year, I was studying different things on Parshas told us. I did not think about this year. I am not here to tell you something I thought of a different year. A lot's gone on over the year. I want to try to study something. I would do this if nobody was here today. I would do this myself. I want to think about something. I'm asking the Chevra to please help me. There's a Rashi I want to study, I'm curious about. I'd like to study it with the guys. We come from the Avos, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. That's where we come. That's our makeup. To study them is to study yourself. Understand in general, understanding your parents is a big part of understanding yourself. Today, there's a lot of awareness. Do you know if a person's parents have trauma, you see signs? If a father went through certain traumas, you know the kid will have all the signs. It's called intergenerational trauma. If a father went through very serious things, I don't know if I have to speak it out, you could see signs in the son. The son didn't even go through that trauma because he lives with his father. What's in the father? In the Torah, there's a line, Maisa Avos Simon Lebanim. Study the Avos and you'll know about us. The story of Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov is our story. So it's just kedai to study the Avos, to understand the Avos. You learn a lot about what's in us. And I want to study Yaakov Avinu, a specific point about Yaakov Avinu that seems to be quite a central point in his life. Yaakov is the Av of Chesed, the Av of Emes, Titein Emes LeYaakov. Yaakov Avinu and Emes is a big sugya. Now, when it says about Yaakov Avinu, it says, Vayigdulu Ana'arim. The youth, two twins got older, Yaakov and Esav. Esav ish yoidei atzayid. Esav's yoidei atzayid. He knows how to be tzayid. Literal means he knows how to trap. He's a trapper. Ish sadeh, a man of the field. Yaakov ish tam. Yaakov has tmimus, yoishev oilim, and he sits and learns. Tmimus and sits and learns. Esav is sayid and ish hasadeh. What does sayid mean, says Rashi? Yedei Atzayid lotzud v'lirameis es aviv b'pid. He's a trickster. Esav is smooth with the tongue, and he knows how to be mirameh his father. He tricks his father, and what does he do? V'shoyla, he asks his father, Abba, heich ma'asrun es hamelech v'es hateven. How do you take off meiser of melech and teven? He fools his father. A lot of trickery. Kisper aviv shu medaktek b'mitzvahs. He sells his father that he's a big medaktek on mitzvahs. Esav's a smooth talker, and he fools his father. He tricks his father. As an aside, there's not what I don't want to focus too much on Esav. I do want to say Esav fools his father. He has from speak to his father. All of us learned this as kids. As just a sick liar, a sicko. He does bad things, and he presents himself as a good person. There's probably degrees. There's some degree of that. Svarim bring the Rabbonim of Shescha. I believe it was from Rabbonim, but I saw in Svarim that bring what he did, that he tricked his father. The Medrash brings that Esav had incredible kibbut av. Esav had mayerdika kibbut av. He was a mechabit his father. Chazal describes specifically one act that he used to do for kibbut av. He would put on special begadim to serve his father. Amazing. He'd wear special begadim to serve his father. That's what Esav did. He wore beautiful begadim. Tzaddik. He wore nice begadim to serve his father. What Svarim bring, and that's like remarkable kibbut avim. What an honor. Could you imagine every time we serve our parents, you put on a nice garment for your parent? It's quite the tzidkus. No, Azil, impressive. Every time kibbut av, from the most important mitzvahs, respect the parents. When he would serve his parents, he would wear a special garment.
What does that mean? Because at least with me, when I'm not like setting time every day at 2 o'clock, I'm helping my parents. Is they're asking me throughout the day to help.
Amazingly, he would quickly get dressed like a wild thing. The simple picture as real. His father asked, well, we say 1 minute, Dad, and he'd wear something. It was like a kara to serve your father. You're born for this. So the simple meaning, Shaya, is he would wear nice clothing. Now, Azriel says it always kibbut avim to do that. If it takes longer, so I guess he would have to weigh that. But typically, he would wear special garments to serve his father. That's what Esav typically would do. We've discussed this before, and I'm going to say this fast. And this is a word I always say. It's not a word. If you want to describe Waterbury, Shai, if you want to describe Waterbury to somebody, I say this to every single interview practically. So I end up saying it about 6 times a week these days. There are a lot of interviews coming. When I describe the yeshiva, what is Waterbury? What's Waterbury trying to be? So I describe the word. This is called clothing. Called clothing. What is this? A beged. It's a beged. Begadim. What strikes you on the word beged? Shaya, we explain always. Is this a table? No. Is this a hand? No. Is this a nose? No. Is this an ear? No, absolutely not. It's called that. There's nothing about this that's an EAR. It's called an ear. We want to speak, so we make up a name for this, and when we say ear, we both picture this, we think about this. It's not an ear. If you want to know what it is, Lashon Kodesh Shema Etzem. It's not called a shulchan, it is a shulchan. It's called a table, it is a shulchan. This is called a hand. What is it? It's a yodalid. What do you know about somebody who's called a dad? Shaya? Not your father. He's called a dad. What do you know about him? That he has kids. You know, somebody's called a dad. What do you know about him? His children. What is he? Av. An Aleph who became a Beis. He's not called an Av. He's an Av. An Av is an Aleph who became Beis. Ben, he's not called an Av. He's an Av. An Aleph who became Beis. You know what I'm saying, Shai? This, a Yad, this is not called a Yad. It's a Yad. So, begadim is what it is, Beis Gimel Daled. What's striking, Shai, about the word Beis Gimel Daled? Where's the Aleph in a row? And where's the Aleph? Aleph is the essence. Hashem's called Alufa Shalom. Beged is missing the Aleph. It's not the thing, it covers the thing, it's missing the Aleph. It's not the thing itself. If it was the thing, it wouldn't be Begadim. Begadim covers the thing. So Begadim is not the thing, it covers the thing. What else does Beis Gimel Daled mean? Treachery. Avram Aboygate is a traitor. In Eretz Yisrael, Begida is treachery. Now, in English, hand and are no shaykhs, because it's not a hand. If beged means clothing and treachery, they're the exact same thing. Spiritually, to be a traitor and clothing is the same thing. Why is it the exact same thing?
Being a traitor.
Is this traitor is disconnected to the melech, to the aleph. And clothing is disconnected to the aleph. They're the same thing spiritually. It's what you're portraying, not who you are. If somebody wants to understand Waterbury, it's beli begadim. It's beli begadim. There's a lot of begadim the way we present it. Begadim has a space. Begadim is how you portray, what you show others, what you present. That's beged, and there's a place for beged. But when Reb Nachman says when there are a lot of nisyanis, you got to find what am I? Beli begadim. Waterbury is a mitzias beli begadim. Who are you? What resonates? What's your inside? What's your journey? What's your story deep inside? Esav would serve his father, would wear special begadim, is not a side point to Esav. Keep in mind, Esav respects his father. How many people out of respect to their father don't say who they are? I don't want to hurt dad. So Esav wears begadim to serve his father is much deeper than you think. In respect for his father, he doesn't reveal himself. The cause for him, right, is he's not impacted by Yitzchak because he's hiding. He might have had very deep cheshbainis. I don't want to hurt my father. But did he put on begadim to serve his father? He was one mitzias of begadim to serve his father, as opposed to revealing himself, who he was, who he is. If he would have revealed who he was, life would be very different. There was his chet. What? Ultimately, it's trickery. Sometimes there's a space for begadim. The way the Rabbanim of Shesches learns, he shouldn't have worn begadim. Now, he did it because he felt that he didn't want to hurt his father, but ultimately he wasn't able to be impacted by his father. That's how, according to this pshat shai, it doesn't mean literal. It could be literal, he wore special begadim, but it means also that he did a presentation as father. He showed his father what he maybe hoped to be instead of who he was. That's begadim too. I don't think it was trickery, but I think in his want not to hurt his father, he did not show himself. He didn't, and the cost of that is connection. It's a deep, deep price for that. In the want just to hide, I'll tell you something interesting. A yid came to yeshiva, and we were having conversations that were all begadim, like pleasant. Oh, how are you? Slap fire. Rabbi Silverman, the Yid, we were having these pleasant comments, and the Yid was even saying cool things. Rabbi Silverman called him out on something, attacked, and he dropped begadim, and we met him and we met each other. When you get to the spaces where you are, even in dating, in Shidduchim, the first 3 dates are all begadim. Oh, and you have fun, it's good to have fun. There's a certain place you meet, you express a little bit what's going on inside, what's happening, and there you meet. If you stay in the place of begadim, you don't ever meet, you don't ever connect. Okay. But it says, Esav's Yodei Atzayid, which Rashi says is mirmir, deceit. He's Yodei Atzayid. Rashi says, Latzad v'leramais esav b'fiv. He's a liar, he's a trickster. Yaakov's ish tam is tmimus. Says Rashi, what's tmimus? And this is the Rashi I want to study, Yaakov. I want to try to figure out today. Michal, if we today could figure out this Rashi. Yaakov's an ish tam. Kimash, says Rashi, tam, einoi baki b'cholela. He's not a baki in all these things. Ela kiliba came piv. The way his heart is, so is his mouth. Somebody who's not sharp. Somebody who's not sharp to trick is called a tam. That's a tam. Is not charif, is not sharp to trick. What bothers me on the Rashi, and I want to figure out Pshat. We're capable of learning Torah. Michal, what bothers me on this Rashi, Michal, is Rashi calls the Torah Hashem calls Yaakov an ish tam. To me, mistake. A tam. Rashi says, what's a tam? Einoi baki b'cholela. He's not like an expert on all these things. El kilibai came piv. His heart and his mouth are aligned. Mishe'enoi charif l'ramai. Somebody who's not sharp to trick is called a tam. Is Yaakov like dumb? Somebody who's not sharp to trick? That's Rashi talking about and describing Yaakov Avinu as an ish tam. It's an ish tam. What's a tam? Somebody who's not charif l'ramais, who's not able, he doesn't have the capacity to trick. So what do we describe? I thought Yaakov's less smart than Esav. A tam is somebody who's not charif l'ramais. And it calls Yaakov Avinu an ish tam. Now you could say, and I just want to study the Rashi. A tam is einay charif. Azriel, I need to figure out the Rashi. Is Esav smart? He's a trickster. He's very intelligent, and Yaakov just not so. As long as you meet a dimwit, he's not sophisticated enough to trick.
Common intelligence have to do with it.
Rashi says einay charif. He's not sharp.
He's not sharp and tricky.
What does that mean? He's not sharp. He doesn't want to
It's not
trick.
his field. Who said that intelligence leads to trickery?
What do you mean he's not sharp? Why would you say somebody's not sharp to trick? Somebody doesn't. What?
What is
To trick. Ramais is trickery. And it says about Yaakov Avinu, he's an ish tam. Einoi baki b'chol. He's not familiar with all these things. Kilibay came piv. Somebody who's not charif l'ramais is called a tam. Now, I want to express that it doesn't say, but that's what a tam is.
Tom is stupid, right?
What?
Sometimes Tom is stupid.
I don't want Yaakov Avinu is called a tam, so I don't want to.
On Pesach, that's
It's funny we have the tam, the shena, the alishal. We could analyze smachloikis, the achrayim. What a tam is. A tam good, bad. Let's learn here tam, and maybe it will shed light what a tam there is. Rashi says, I want to study the Rashi. I want people, if we can, we could all say our theories. I want to study the Rashi. Rashi's talking to me and you. I'm a competitive guy. When I learn a Rashi or Taisvis, I have like a certain competitive Rashi. Like I'm not stupid, and Rashi's writing Torah. Hashem has me learn this Rashi, and He's talking to me. So I want to find out who's Yaakov. Let's say I am sharp, then I can't be Yaakov Avinu. What is Yaakov? He's an ish tam. Says Rashi, what's a tam? I'm going to read the Rashi. I want it to fit in Rashi. What's a tam? Einai baki b'cholela. He's not a bucky in all this. I assume all this is the things Esav could do. It's contrast to Esav. Esav's Yedei Atzayid. He knows how to fool. Lotzid v'l'ramei sabbipiv. He can pull a lot of shtick to his father. Yaakov's an ishtam. Einoi bucky b'choleile. He's not an expert. He's not a bucky. He's not proficient in all this. El kilibay came piv. What's on his heart, that's in his mouth. Now Rashi explains, Mishe'enoi charif l'ramais kari tam. Somebody who's not sharp to trick is called a tam. So a tam sounds like somebody who doesn't have the capacity. He's an ish tam. Now I want to acknowledge, I don't want to I want to be on the same page. It could be Yaakov by choice is a tam. An ish tam might mean he decides to be that. But it's just funny to me, the tam, it's such a funny thing to describe. A tam is a guy who's einoi charif l'ramais. An ish tam is a guy who decides to be that. Maybe he has a capacity, he wants to be that. What's Rashi doing here? What's happening here? Because it says einoi charif, he's not sharp. What am I describing? Explain to me, he's just not sharp with that?
Personality isn't to be an attacker, like sharp as an attacking. It's not like intelligent.
Charifus is like a sharpness and a lebedik. Einoi charif, he's not. Who would describe this? It's an erlichkeit. It's a sincerity. What's Rashi describing it? I have no agenda, Michal, other than to figure out Rashi. A tam is einoi charif l'ramais. Is called a tam. Somebody who's not sharp to do ramos.
Does that mean that Yaakov did not even know how to be sharp?
That's what I'm asking. Now, it might be he willfully chose to be the tam. A tam is a guy who doesn't have the capacity. Yaakov, by choice, is that. Maybe. I just don't know why you'd explain honesty this way. Yaakov's an Hashemus. A tam is ein charif l'ramais, and Yaakov decides. I'm trying. Yankov, you could help us. Your name is Yankov. How do you understand this, Rashi? Pass this to. Could you pass this to Yankov?
I wouldn't give a fig
Rashi's
and a
saying,
fig,
Michal, help
but on
me
the
out.
other side, I would give a fig.
Aryeh is a Baki. Aryeh is a Baki.
Chavzan, look at the
I
Rashi.
wouldn't give
Chaver,
a
tell me,
fig, I
Avram.
wouldn't give a fig for that.
Tell me, Psha, look at the Rashi here. Help me out. Zevi, help me out. Let's together. We have a lot. We have Charifas here. Let's figure out. David, Yosef. Let's figure. Shia, let's figure it out together. We're smart, guys. Jamie? We're trying to figure out a Rashi.
Rabbi, I have a question.
I want to figure this out, then we'll do other questions.
My question is trying to figure this out.
So one second. What? His heart is his mouth. They're aligned. Let's see it again. I'll read it to anybody who wants help with the Taich words. Yosef, you have a pshat here? Ish tam, says Rashi tam, einoi baki b'choleile. He's not an expert. A baki's an expert. He's not an expert at all this. Ela kilibai came piv. What his heart is his mouth. Now Rashi explains, Misha'einoi charif l'ramai. Somebody who's not sharp to trick is called a tam.
Yaakov was Hamas, no?
Yeah.
So obviously.
I want to hear what Rashi's saying. I don't know. We're trying to figure it out. Rashi says the tam. Yaakov, your name's Yaakov. What are you feeling in Rashi? What's Rashi expressing about him? We'll just ask what's happening. We're trying to figure out a Rashi. Yaakov's known to be an ish tam, tmimus. What's a tam? Says Rashi. Look at the Rashi tam. Einoi baki b'choleile. He's not an expert on all these things. Kilibai came piv. What's in his heart is in his mouth. Explains Rashi. Misha einoi charif l'ramais. Somebody who's not sharp to trick. Kari tam is called a tam. He's not sharp to trick. It's called a tam. Somebody who's not so sharp. It's not charif l'ramais. It's called a tam. It sounds, the simple words in Rashi sounds like somebody who's not so smart. Einoi charif. Now, again, in ish tam is somebody who's not so smart. Einoi charif l'ramas. That's what Rashi says. Einoi charif. That he doesn't say doesn't have the want or willingness, is not so sharp to trick, is called a tam. Sounds like Yaakov's calling Rashi dumb. Now, it might be the guy saying he's not a tam, he's an ish tam, which might mean he willfully chooses that, maybe. It's just a funny way to describe somebody who's honest. Like Lely said, Pashat ish tam, he doesn't lie. Einoi baki b'choleila. 2 words in Rashi like really throw me off. He's an ish tam, he's honest. Tmimus, honesty. He doesn't lie. Rashi says, Einoi baki b'choleile. He's not proficient. He's Einoi charif l'ramais. What's happening? What's happening?
Maybe like some type of naive. Am I naive? We need this liar. He's a bad liar. He's naive, doesn't know what's going on.
That's good.
He wasn't relying on his good.
Isn't this what we're trying to describe Yaakov? Like the simple thing of Tmimus is honesty. He's honest. Isn't this simple thing that it's such a funny thing? Says Einay Charif. The honesty is he doesn't lie because it's not the right thing to do. Isn't that the reason not to lie? Is a Tmimus, to go betmimus. I don't want to lie. I don't want to be a trickster. I certainly think there's a decision, but here he says Einay Charif. Now could be that's a tam, and he decides to be that. Yaakov, what do you say?
I don't know. I'm saying you focusing that he's not like he's not sharp. He's not sharp at lying. Lavan was the liar. I guess it's a little bit like this. Could it be that it's just because it's a lie?
And what it says Einay Charif l'ram.
You focusing on Charif. I'm focused on Neramot.
It's not a problem in Charif. It's not an Einay Charif to do it. It's not what he wants. It's not what he does. It seems a funny thing to say on a time that he's not Charif to do it. Sharp.
He wasn't present by his mind.
Personality, sharpest.
His mind went out to do stuff as sharp as he wasn't shackled. He had his heart. That's what you call it. So his brain.
Why can't it be a personality? Sharp.
What a person.
He wasn't a type of person who would trick like he wasn't a sharp type of person that he would trick to lie,
Soft.
cause like attacks or anything, friction.
Rabbi, I think I have a child.
I want anyone to say it.
He's not that intelligent. You're a sharp person. Like, everything Charif has to be intelligent. Charif will irrelevant.
Rabbi, you're not Charif, but you're clever. Same thing.
Liba came piv. Liba came.
Why would that make him
Inside his mouth.
Conflict causes like verbal darkness.
Well, that would be very much.
What'd you say?
Would it have been better if you tried to trick like
No. We want to study Yaakov. We all want the Tmimus of Yaakov Avinu. Chevra, I don't know. I want to say like this, that on the first words that it says about Yaakov, Kilibai came piv. What's in his heart is what it comes to his mouth is like delightful, that you get the truth of what somebody is. Kilibai came piv. What's in his heart, so is his mouth. His heart and mouth are aligned. There's a line the world says. There's no exact chazal, the way I'm going to say. People call this a chazal. I have 4 psukim in Mishlei. I can't tell you offhand. I was very into Mishlei. I found 4 psukim that describe this idea, though there's no exact chazal. There's a line, Dvarim hayotzim min halev nichnasim halev. Words that emanate from the heart enter the heart. If you want your words to be powerful, say what you really hold. You hear people speak, they talk. Stop. What do you really hold? Real. Be present. You'll have times, everybody here will have times in your life. You're going to speak at a Sheva Brachas about a friend. Say something real. Go on a walk. People think, what should I say about him? Is afraf. What should I say? Say a real compliment when you're alone in a room that you feel about him. It's very powerful. You hear guys talking and say things. They're not saying what they hold, what they feel, what they know, what the truth is. Say things you really hold. I was talking as real to my shul. We were looking for a Rav to be an assistant. For 2 years, I was looking for a Rav. And people came down, good people, and I'm not you can't prove this, but I met the core people involved in the decision in choosing a Rav. I said, I beg you, people can come and say brilliant things and cool things and nice things. Let's find somebody, what they said they really believe. They would die for what they say. Not they're people who talk and say and feel, and they're not saying. The midah of Yaakov Avinu is Kilibai came piv. What he says is really here. It's really what he holds, real. I've told guys, sometimes a Rebbe asks a kasha, and people say Terutzim, and a Rebbe says, you're saying a little better, say better. I always want to tell that Rebbe, this is what I hold. Let me say better. I really hold this. You want me to say what you hold? I don't know what you hold. I can tell you what I hold. In learning in general, you're at your best in learning when you really say what you think. Really, I got so upset at a guy this summer. We were learning Iyun in Sulam. We were learning Iyun, and a guy in learning said, why can't you say this? He said, because you don't believe it. You could feel when a guy says what he believes, you don't believe that's true. Why can't we say it? You can say whatever you want. At the point you don't believe something, what does it mean? Even we're learning this very Rashi, anybody could, I love when people learn say, maybe you could say, do you believe it? I really want to believe it. I want to read the Rashi. I like learning Torah. I want to be impacted by Rashi's words. I don't know what Rashi means, Einoi Charef L'Ramos. I really don't know. It bothers me, and that's so sharp. It's not the problem of sharpness. I don't know. The honest people I know are completely as sharp as the liars. They just don't want to lie. So I don't know what Rashi's saying. I really don't. I don't have pshat. I don't mind. Why can't you say? I don't know what Rashi means. The people I know that are honest are the sharpest people in the world. They just don't want to lie. I don't. It has nothing to do with a lack of sharpness. Now, Rashi might be saying, I don't know if Rashi's saying Yaakov's a tam, he's an ish tam. He behaves like the guy who doesn't know how to lie. He purposely decides to be a tam. A tam is not capable of lying. Now, I don't know why you would describe an honest person like that. I don't want to be the stupid guy. I just don't lie. Why would you want to describe him as a person who can't? I don't know. I don't have a pshat. Rashi describes a tam as einoi charif l'ramos, somebody who's not sharp. There's some deficient, or don't call it deficiency. He's not charif. It's just not the way I ever would describe it. Now, maybe Rashi means, I want to know what Rashi means. I don't know what he means. He's describing a pasuk in our Torah, describing Yaakov's tamimus and honesty. Says Rashi, what's a tam? Mishe'enoi charif l'ramos. It's called a tam. Somebody who's not sharp to trick. I don't know what's happening here, that it calls him an ish tam. It could be decides to be that. I don't know. I don't have pshat. What I do want to say in the words of Rashi is Rashi says about Yaakov Avinu, and this is powerful. Rashi in a tam says, Elo kilibay came piv. What's on his heart? That's what he says. His mouth is attached to his heart. That's magical. When somebody's kilibay came piv, what's here is beautiful. They really say what they feel. Mamish. They say what they feel. You'll see in conversations you bond with somebody when there's an honesty. When you mamish, you'll see one day when you go out with the girl, it's interesting. Sometimes it's an uncomfortable moment. Usually it's tied. Somebody's not saying what's on their heart. Usually. Why I picked a date, I'm dealing with a lot of guys on dates. Usually an uncomfortable moment is somebody's not expressing something that was on their heart. You could feel it in the conversation. And there's a beautiful, if you want to know Yaakov Avinu, these words I love, but I want to get the whole Rashi. In a Rashi about honesty, I don't want to be dishonest for sure. So I want to read the whole Rashi, but those words are miracle. Tam einoi baki b'chol eila bothers me. He's not proficient in all this. I don't know why Rashi said that. He's not a baki. He doesn't do that. I don't know he's not proficient. Ella, the Ella pshat I like a lot. Ella, what is it? He's not baki b'chol eila. He's not proficient in all that. That's not where he goes. Ella, you know what you get from him? Kiliba came piv. It's interesting. Esav's at a very dangerous. Once say this, say that, say the next thing. Esav's willing to do. He's working hard. He's working way too hard. Esav for kibbutz maybe fools his father, and I'll say this and I'll say that. It's not where he's at. He's a Ramay. He's willing to go different places. A Tam doesn't go there. Whether he's not, I don't know if he's not capable. It's probably a decision. A Tam doesn't live there. There's just what he's thinking. By the way, I suspect the Tam is not even capable. Like he doesn't. It's just not where he is. Kilibai came piv. What's here? That's what you get. He's not willing. Why don't you just say this? Why do you? Shlomo, a guy asked me in speaking, why don't you speak more about a certain thing? I don't get it. Why don't you speak more? I expressed to the person that I try, why don't you talk about a certain thing? It's not what I'm thinking about. You're at a very dangerous place where you just speak about this, say that. If that's not where you are, don't talk about it. That's not what I'm thinking about. So I can't talk, I'm sorry. Maybe if you yell at me enough and make it on my mind, they'll think it's not where I am, so I'm not going to say it. The midah of Yaakov Avinu is Kiliba came piv. Where he is, that's what comes out of his mouth. And by the way, when you do that, Dvarim hayotzim and alev, words that connect to here, nichnasma, go into the heart. Do you know, the last night of yeshiva, we're up all night and guys saying their story. Do you know, most of the night, guys are saying things. When Eli Kaplan spoke, I couldn't be tired. I was like drawn in. Because it was coming from his heart. You could hear when a guy's talking and the words don't attach to himself. I went to a rehab and 50 people, they had a meeting. It was Mayin. It was not like the last night here. It did not have quite the support. But it was a lot of honesty. People were saying their stories. It went around the room and people were saying their stories. Most people, when they spoke, they were mamish saying their stories. You were like drawn in. You were like, whoa. There was like a deep silence in the room because they were saying their stories. One guy started like blabbing. Well, you see, I have like and everybody knew he wasn't attached to what he was saying. He wasn't attached. It wasn't Dvarim hayotzim and alev. He was not attached to what he was saying. He was talking. He was not attached to his words. You could feel it. You felt like pushed away from the words. You could start the last night when a guy talks. He doesn't mean to lie. He's just not connected to his story. It's like, he's saying like a second-hand story. He's not emotionally attached to his words. You start falling asleep. You'll look around the room. A lot of people are falling asleep. Because not Dvarim hayotzim alev. His words are not connected to his heart. Yaakov Avinu's midas kiliba came piv. What he says is mamish what he holds. It's what he believes. It's magical in learning. Two chavrusas who really say what they hold. It's awesome. You mamish bond, and each of you argue, you fight. But two people are mamish connected. I hold this way. I hold it. They're saying things. When people are, maybe you could say, I don't know. You're not saying what you think. You would die. Even when I asked for Pshat and Rashi, I want a guy to say something. He studied it, and this is like not why can't you say no. This I read it. This is what it's saying to me. This is what I see. Kilibai came piv. What's here is mamish. What you see, what you feel, what you experience. It's very powerful, and you do this in all areas of life. Dvarim hayotzim and alev, words that emanate from the heart, nichnasble, go into the next person's heart. It's powerful. So Yaakov Avinu is this midas, an ish tam. You're so sweet, thank you. An ish tam is kilibai came piv. You'll see when you go out. People want Waterbury, guys. If I had to describe something we're striving for, I'm not being pretend. You don't want to speak about Kaliba Kaim Piv and say dishonesty. What Waterbury guys are striving, Ben Torah, a person of this revolution of honesty, is a person you get mamish where he is. Kaliba Kaim Piv, mamish. You're trying. Is it a big attempt? Where his heart is, there his mouth is. He's saying mamish. He's not, even, guys, is a nice Dvar Torah. I want somebody, I asked them, find the Rav, his divrei, like he holds this emes, he would die for this truth. It's mamish, he's connected to this, he sees this as a kilibay came piv. What's in his heart is coming out to his mouth. That's the place that Yaakov Avinu is. Ish tam is a beautiful thing. That part I get. I don't know what it's saying, somebody who's not charif l'ramais. Somehow, I don't know pshat in that. I can't figure it out. I'm not going to pretend to the guys. Not a Rashi in honesty. I'm not pretending. I don't know pshat. And I hear guys are saying something. I'm not sure what it means. I don't know what that means. Things have to be exact. This, till here, the words in Rashi, if it would say tam, kilibay came piv, I get it. What's in his heart, it's in his mouth. The Einai Charif Shlomo, I can't figure that out. It might be there are people who are not capable of doing it, and the smart guy who is capable acts that way. Maybe. Einai Charif Satam, there's people who are not capable. There's a certain type who has no capacity. The Ish Tam decides to behave that way. He's capable. Charif is a sharpness. Einai Charif L'Rai is not. What? The word charif, typically charifas is sharpness. That's typically, if somebody has another way of understanding. I'm struggling with this. Now, maybe a guy would see somebody who behaves. You ever meet like a certain person who's not even capable, like there's no, and Yaakov's an ish tam, by decision he behaves like that guy. Maybe.
Well, that would be lying.
That might be called a tam. And maybe a person who's kipiv, kilibay came piv, decides to behave like that, maybe. He's charif, he could be sharp. Right, he's saying what a tam is. So it doesn't mean Yaakov's a tam, Yaakov's an ish tam, behaves like that guy. Maybe. Just offering, but I don't know why you would even try to imitate a guy who can. You can. I know. I can't figure that. Einoi baki b'chol eila bothers me. 2 parts of Rashi I can't get mechol. I'm not going to pretend. And I'm not trying to bully the guys. I know I give anybody the floor and tell us what it means. I'm struggling with this. It's your name, Yankov. I struggle. I've other years. I don't want to just be bothered because I was bothered last year. I like learning things fresh again. I want to understand it. Rashi is not hitting what he's saying. Einoi baki b'chol leila. He's not an expert at. It's not what I would describe. And einoi charif l'ram is what's. The only words of Rashi that I hear clear is Ella Kiliba came piv. That's delightful to me. Kiliba came piv. What's in his heart is in his mouth. That's to me is the striving of us all. The other things, Naftali, I can't. Do you have a pshat what Rashi's doing? Don't be afraid. I like scared. I'm like a bully, but I'm happy you're a little. I want you to be a little afraid because when you I want you to stand up and say, "I got it," but not why can't you say? Because if you don't believe it, then I want to. I really want to understand. Right? Kiliba came piv.
Yaakov does do Ramas because the honest person also ends up doing Ramas just because he's so honest. I feel like a very honest person, he ends up rocking people because he's just being himself. So Yaakov also has some Ramas, just he's not hard to do it. He ends up when he's talking to Isaac, he's just being himself, so it throws him off.
Throws who off?
Oh, be Ramas, so let's say to another Rama, to a dishonest person. An honest person will an honest person will mess with a dishonest person. Or just confuse him because he's just being so honest. So Yaakov ends up being Ramas.
So which words are you so?
So Yaakov, he is a Rama, just not Charif or Ramas. Because he's so honest, he ends up tricking people. He ends up doing Ramas, to love and he ends up doing Ramas.
Throw off the dishonest person.
Throws off the dishonest person, he's just being himself.
So that's why he says he's not Charif l'Ramais.
Yeah. baki v'chalayla. He ends up, he's not baki v'chalayla, but he does.
That's why he says ain't a buck and ain't a chara, because it comes out. It could be the biggest ramais when you're honest, like
Yeah,
you.
people don't know what to do with that. Messes people up in their system.
That's why Rashi doesn't want to say doesn't do it. So it's just say it's not a technique. It's ain't a charif, it's ain't a buck.
Because Rashi says like Yaakov's like shavet ulova, like Ramaz. He tricks him back and forth because you just.
Achavani beramais, he says. I also, if you want to.
Yeah, it says in Tehillim that you should be honest with the honest person and trick with the tricker.
Hashem is litamu mitamim, and to people that are dishonest, Hashem leads in such a way. It does say that.
Really? So if a person feels like Hashem is tricking him, does that mean that you can tell you believe he's tricking Hashem?
I don't know. I hear what you say.
Also, it says, Kaliba came Piv, which means that he's really honest. If he's going with what his heart feels, then he's really honest. Then he's not choosing to be a Tam. If he's choosing to be a Tam, he's using his mind to go with his heart, which is automatically tricking. Which is automatically not fully honest. Because if he was really Kaliba came Piv, then it means that in his heart he was a Tam.
That's a decision. We all can make a decision to do that, to really go, it's in the heart.
But making a decision requires a mind.
It's fine. As long as then the mind chooses what's in the heart. What were you saying, Shlomo? I'm struggling. Chevra, I don't mind struggling on a Rashi. We're struggling publicly here, but I still want to figure it out. Michal, you have a feeling on this?
In my sense, yeah, he wasn't capable of, like, I've seen people like that. They're very wholesome, sweet, naive a little. He was like in the sense, he was a man of the fence. He didn't know about the whole business world. Maybe he could have practically gotten, I'm sure he could have practically gotten better at it. I know it's like hard to say, because Yaakov Avinu was capable of everything.
What?
I mean, he wasn't an expert. He wasn't an expert in all these things. I don't know. He was in the sense. He was learning whatever he was. Wasn't the sharpest, he was like more simple. I know it sounds like not a negative trait, it was very simple.
He didn't develop this part. Like maybe there's a place to be a rabbi, but I want.
It's a cooler story of like also this guy capable like evil and he shows he wasn't like I don't know.
Rabbi,
Maybe it's like an ish tam is no, but a person who never developed. There might be a space. By the way, in his story itself, he's forced to lie. He's forced to lie to Esav right away. So ish tams he never developed. We like developed this ability. Yaakov didn't go there. He's an ish tam. It was an underdeveloped side. Our ability, we sometimes have forced to say, Mishanim Pnei Hashalom, Einoi Bakim Chalil, Einoi Charif. Pashut never developed this side of things. He was somebody who was trained, what you feel, Kaliba came Pib. And this side, Esav has reasons in his dealings, times you have to be Mishana, that's the way of the world. Yaakov never developed this side of himself. Now maybe there's a side for it. Maybe in Esav even there's a need sometimes, Michal, you hear Michal saying, Yankov? Michal's saying maybe there is a need sometimes to not be, you're out there in the world. There are times you have to say this. You don't always say everything on your heart. There are times you got to learn. Don't say that. You teach certain people like not to be, like don't be so, you see somebody who's like too honest and doesn't know. Anybody who studies Hillel, you don't say to a Kala something inappropriate. There's a way of the world. It could be Yaakov Avinu is an ish tam that he never developed that side. That's not what he does. He was maybe it's funny in interacting when you're out there. So you have times you can't always say what's here. You have to learn. Yaakov's an ish tam. He's einoi baki b'chol. He's einoi charif, but not because of lack of intelligence. It was not a developed thing. He was a person who was tmimus, who went Levi Kipib. That's how he went, and it wasn't. Now, is there a time to develop that Esav muscle? That wasn't what he did. That's what Michal's saying. Right. He never even worked on this muscle of like when you're out there interacting in the world, you actually have to develop. Okay, I can't say that. Yaakov Avinu is the person in its pure form, is Kiliba came Piv. He's ain't a baki b'cholele. He's ain't a char. He didn't like literally from when we're out there. You know what it reminds me of? Little kids. You know what it reminds me of? I'll tell you a story. My parents, Daniel, if I could tell you just a true story. My parents had a van, a very interesting van. My father used to lend his van to guys in Yeshiva Harakra. He used to lend out his van. My parents had a van. My father had a van that didn't need a key to start it. You literally, at a certain point that was broken, you turned the ignition piece and drove it off. Talmidim took advantage sometimes. You just went to the car, turned the piece, and he drove. The bottom line is my parents' van, this van was stolen. And it was stolen. My parents' van, I kid you not, I checked for my keys just now. But my parents' van was stolen. And somebody told my parents that it's being used as a freedom van. Do you guys know what a freedom van is? In the inner city, so some people, the bus stops, this is totally illegal. There are bus stops and go and wait by the bus stops. People take vans, they'll go up, let's say the bus charges $10, they'll charge $5 and they go do the bus route with their own vans, charging half price. It's stealing. They use the bus routes and they just drive. This before Ubers and the like. Today I don't have this freedom. They still have it today. In the inner city, this is prevalent. Well, somebody stole my parents' van and reported to my parents that they saw it being used as a freedom van. Your van became a freedom van. It's going at the bus stop. So my parents drove the car and their different car. They chased their own car. They found the guy. They got ahead of him. The bottom line is they called the cops and they got the car back. They captured the van back. We got our van back. When we got it back to the police station, the guy, it turns out, was sleeping in the car. He was using it as a house and his parnas. It was like an all-in-one vehicle. It was the guy's house, his parnas. It was mamish, very well used. He used this van, and he had covers in there. He had pajamas in there. He literally was using it as his place of residence, apparently. Now, in the police station, they asked my parents, they gave back the van. They said, somehow they offered my parents all his stuff. My parents did not want this guy's pajamas or his cover for that matter. My parents said, just dispose of it. And in the police station, they threw out, I'm not saying I'm proud of this, but they threw out all his stuff. The bottom line is, I'm home with my mother, my father's away, and I knock on the door, and the Ganav showed up to my parents' house. I was home with my mother, my little brother was upstairs. The Ganav knocks. My mother said, Daniel, go to the study. You could see the door and get ready to call 911. She was scared for her life. We first didn't open. He was banging away. My mother opened for him. And he said, I want my stuff back. My stuff was in your van. So my mother said, I don't know where your stuff is. I don't think the place, to be honest, that it was thrown out. My brother, I'm in the living room. I'm in my father's study, like ready to call 911. They used to have these phones attached to the walls. Nobody had cell phones then. But how old was Rabbi? About 13, 14. And my brother was 6 or 7. And my brother... 6 or 7. You can't get away. You can't. It's great stuff, great stuff. You can't get away. If we thought today's share was getting there, like I don't know. Ravezi, how did this happen? I went in saying, don't say 6 or 7. Oh gosh. This guy owns us all. He owns us all. It's difficult. Daniel, he owns us, this guy. Okay. The bottom line is my brother was 7 or 8. And yeah. Oh, gosh. The kitzer is that my brother runs down from upstairs and he says, I know where his stuff is. He's saving the day. And my brother says, I know it was thrown out. Like he was telling the guy his stuff was thrown out. And my mother was scared stiff to tell the guy. I literally dropped the phone, run all out at my brother, just grab him and pick him up. Like I just my brother's name's Moshe, which is a mid of MS, and he just was trying to express that he knew where the stuff is. He was an innocent young kid who was telling the guy, but we had to make sure that he doesn't tell the guy that it was thrown out. There wasn't, but that picture of a youngster who doesn't know, who's just honest, like it's not his thing. Like to know. As we gain life experience, like we have cases, you can't say that, and we become an expert at it. Michal says that Yaakov was not in the world, did not work on this. Now there's a place to work, by the way. There is a space. It makes things, in a way I love this pshat, because there is a space for Ramois. There's a space to learn. When you deal in the world, you don't say everything you're thinking. It's not always. And there's sometimes you just can't. Yaakov Avinu was Einoi Charif. It doesn't mean the lack of intelligence. I don't know, again, Einoi Charif bothers me. Einoi Baki B'chol is not what he did. He didn't, not being out there, you can afford. Kiliba came Piv. It's here, it's here. Esav's out there in the picture of somebody who's even the way we're learning that he's forced for his father and there's a reason and life like forces you and there are times you remove from that. Yaakov was that in its purest form. He never not being out there, he didn't have to do all these things, perhaps, Michal, I do. But again, the Einoi Charif, maybe the Charifus is not from lack of intelligence. He just didn't deal in the world. He was Ish Tam Yoshev Oilim. And as such, he was able to be in touch with Tmeimus. It was not something that he was busy with. And unfortunately, we become experts to the point that we have to work again. What do I hold? We have to it's funny that all of us being so well trained. You talk about a little kid. I think about that picture of my little brother, 7 or 8, trying to just say the truth. He didn't learn, he just learned. I know where it is. And that's what was Belibos, that's what's Pepiv. We life sort of trains us sometimes that there's a time, don't say what's in your heart. Don't say everything that...
Why is he Ishtam? Why is he Ishtam?
I hear that question. Fair. Well, what does it mean, Ishtam? But Michal's describing a person who didn't engage in that. That's not what he did. It's not what he did. He's an Ishtam. He's Kiliboy, came Piv, and he did the Yoshev Oilam may be allowed for that. And Esav was out there. Maybe there's a degree you learn. Maybe there's a degree you learn that you're a Deil Ramais. You learn. It's not always what you're thinking. Interesting. Maybe. But Michal says perhaps. What?
I think that shot is.
It does. It might be true. What do you say, Naftali? Maybe there's a charif we get so good at this, and then we have to work on us. I'm not ripping us. We live in the world, and we have to tell the guy who's van that I don't know. Okay, that wasn't what was in your heart. Right. I'm not ripping it. Right. But we have all these times. He's saying he was in Yeshivan, that wasn't his role. Remember, Yaakov Avinu's role wasn't that. It wasn't his role. It's funny. That's what Aryeh points out. It's funny if you... Shlomo and Reli and Aryeh pointed this out. Somebody else said this before. His life journey brings this out. He becomes, all of a sudden, to Esav, he's forced to... But there's a midah of tmimus. His kiliba came piv. And Yaakov Avinu, certainly his typical role was the Yoshev Oilim, who doesn't have to engage like that. Now in life, Aryeh said he was by Lavan, which it says Achav ani b'ramois. It says about Yaakov Avinu, Achav ani b'ramois. You want to be a Ramay? I'll be able to find this, but that wasn't what he was. His typical was Kaliba came Piv. That's Michal's Pshat. I'm just trying to get Pshat. I'm not I don't care the Musar that comes. I want to know what Hashem is saying, what the Rashi is saying, maybe.
That's everyone's story. We're all born like that. That's everyone. And then over time, we use social.
But it could be he's Yeshiv Oilim, is in the not engaging in the world, he's able to be present to that. He was sitting and learning Torah. Esav was the one who was out there, was Ish Sada. Yaakov's Yeshiv Oilim. When you're there, what could be very, very strong is Kiliba came Piv. Tmimus. What's there is in your mouth. That's it. You're not when you're engaged in the world. Unfortunately, again, this is what happens. Now we have to make sure we can go back and get in touch. A lot of us, what we're trying to do in our life is get back in touch with this tvimus, this kiliba came piv. Right. Right. It's not the way we're knowing. It's not the. Yeah. You see people who are so easily could do things so easily, could say this and say that, because we have to make sure it's not easy. It's not like an easy thing, we have to do it. But I want to say here, Chevra, this Rashi is something I want to learn. The midah of Kiliba came piv, and I'm happy to harv on this Rashi along the way of working on this. I feel just studying Kiliba Kain Piv is very enticing. There's something extremely beautiful about it. And certainly to be in touch, what's the lave? What's inside? What's inside? To get in touch with that. What do you hold? What do you really feel about things? In learning Torah is a place that I want to beg everybody. And remember Yaakov Avinu's Ish Tam Yeshiv Oilim? I think in learning, you're at your best space. Really get in touch what your lave tells you. Real. What's your lave saying? Learning's a very good space like that. Some people say, maybe you could say, people in Shiurim, maybe you could say, don't say maybe you could say, what do you hold? What's Belibai? What's in your heart? Read the Rashi, read the Pasuk. It's instructive, and then you say where you are. Kilibai came piv. Mamish.
Where are people getting their ideas from?
They're all different motives and other types of things and interactions. Sometimes I learn what pleases other people. I learn what like the Rebbe likes. Sometimes I say things other people like. If I'm coming from inside, what it looks like to me is very powerful. Kiliba came piv. And here is attached here. Very powerful. Very. And we have good things in the lave. Remember the deepest Shlomo has sung to us many times. It says, "L'cha amar libi bakshupanai." The lave says cool things when we're in sync with the lave. When we are piv is disconnected, I could say this, do that. That's okay. Mimas a big madrega. This ish tam kiliba came piv is certainly it's something all of us aspire to. Kiliba came piv. It's echad bepev, echad belev. There's a unity in what goes on in our leiv tar peh. In speeches, by the way, if you want to speak well about your friend, say what you think. It's very powerful. You'll find there's a chas. What should I say? Say what you think about it. I'm like, what's the maila? Just go on a walk. What do I when I'm alone? It comes out very powerful when you express the place that's in the lave. In learning Torah, your power, in saying divrei Torah, what you hold, what's inside, and you bring it to the outside. It's very, very powerful. I had a conversation last night with an old Waterbury guy who's married with children, and he's somebody who's like a mitzias of Kiliba Kain Piv. I was describing to him how I get inspired conversations with him. He really gives, and he's very measured with his words to make sure he's measuring where he's at. If you meet Yankov, it's funny his name's Yankov. These things are not a coincidence. If I would say many things on Yaakov Koko, I would say Kiliba came piv. What's here comes out. Comes out. Again, nobody's perfect. You don't want to lie when you're talking about Kiliba came piv. There's Nisyanis, but there's that bechina. It's a very powerful bechina. When we could be Kiliba came piv is very, very, very powerful. It's a force when they're like that statement. Can we memorize that statement, Rafi? Dvarim hayotzim min halev. Say that, Raf. Hayotzim min halev. Words that emanate from the heart. Nichnasim el halev. Enter the heart. Words that emanate from the heart. There's no real Chazal, Aryeh, that say that. I could hear that. There psukim in Mishlei I found that cannot say this without those words. Kemayim panu apanim is what's in our heart will be reflected. So it's, yeah, pretty similar, yeah. Part of the mid of MS of Yaakov Avinu. So today we studied one aspect of the MS of Yaakov, and one aspect of the MS of Yaakov is what comes out of here is connected to the heart. That's an aspect of the MS of Yaakov. Another aspect of the MS of Yaakov is the balance between Ava and Yira. Avram Avinu is Avas Hashem, is love of Hashem. Yitzchak is the Av that represents Yira Shemayim. And Yaakov Avinu is called Bechir HaAvos. Another MS is this perfect mixture of Ava and Yira, of love and fear, that both go together, Ava and Yira together. Maybe we'll speak about. I want to at some point delve into what Avas Hashem is, what Yiras Hashem is, and what this blend, this emes of Ava and Yira together. In general, Avas Hashem is associated with mitzvahs aseh, with the positive commands of doing. In general, is Ava. The not doing, lois asehs, are associated with Yira. And in Yiddishkeit, learning to blend the Ava with the Yira is a big thing. Shabbos Kodesh, which is a shleimus, another name for Shabbos is Shalom, is a shleimus, is a completion. And Shabbos and Yaakov Avinu have a big, it says, whoever's ma'anig Shabbos is zeichet to the nachla of Yaakov Avinu, nachla bli mitzarim. And Shabbos has Shomer and Zachar. Shomer is the asay of Kiddush. Zachar is the asay of Kiddush, and Shomer is what you don't do. And they're supposed to be blended. Zachar v'Shomer b'dibur echad. I do want to talk about what, I'm not going to do it now. We're talking about the emes of Yaakov. Part of the emes of Yaakov is this blend of Ava and Yira, perfectly blended. I want to talk what that looks like for us, the children of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, what that looks, the blend of Ava and Yira. In relationships, we're a generation very moved by Ava, by love and doing things with chayus and passion, the overflow of Ava. Yira is certain boundaries that are needed in relationships. I was talking to somebody, people who have Ava in a marriage, what it looks like, and don't have Yira in the relationships, and they're not boundary in the relationship, what that looks like. I'm still working on the sugya, and I want to express it to the guys at some point, especially these parshas that were introduced to Yaakov Avinu, who's a blend of Ava and Yira, but I'm not ready yet to discuss it. In speaking about emes of Yaakov, I want to get to that place of the emes of Yaakov, of the blend of Ava and Yira, the two things working together. But this nekuda, that we're all capable of being tmimim, this tmimus. It says about Klal Yisrael, Tumas Yesharim Tanchim. Klal Yisrael is known as tmimus. We have this tmimus of Klal Yisrael, and it's a beautiful space to be in of Piv is Kilibay. Kilibay came Piv. Where his heart is, there his mouth is. What's inside is what he's expressing. So just to study that madrega, to think about that madrega, to try to move towards that madrega is something that I want to start with. Yeah. I want to study, I said over on Thursday night, guys have Chumashim, so I want to show you the Apta Rav inside. If guys can open their Chumashim, and I could read to you the Apta Rav. I said it on Thursday night, but with the guys' Chumash there. On what page is it on? Because I have a different Chumash than you. It's Pasuk Chavches. What page is that, guys?
Same page.
I just don't have the page he's opening up. Let me show you this. Pull over a chair next to me. The pasuk says, "Vayev Yitzchak es Esav." Look at this. Everybody, look at this. Vayev Yitzchak es Esav. Yitzchak loves Esav. Kitzayid b'fiv. Because there had been trickery in his mouth. Tzayid is to ensnare, to trap. Kitzayid b'fiv, his mouth ensnared. Rashi says pshat that Yitzchak loves Esav. Kitzayid b'fiv, for Esav had ensnared Yitzchak Avinu. Esav had trapped Yitzchak. Yitzchak loved Esav. Kitzayid b'fiv, says Rashi. Medrash, he brings a medrash, Piv shel Esav. Shutzarai say mirameyu b'dvarav. Esav tricked Yitzchak Avinu. So Tzayid b'fiv is what Esav did to Yitzchak. That's what Rashi means. He was a trickster, and he fooled his father. The Ayev Yisrael was the Apteruv. The Apteruv says a different shot inside b'fiv. Yehuda, the Apteruv says that Yitzchak loves Esav Kitzayid b'fiv because there was not trickery, ensnarement in his mouth means Yitzchak ensnared God. Azriel, you heard this Apteruv? He says Kitzayid b'fiv doesn't mean that Esav tricked Yitzchak, trapped Yitzchak. It means Yitzchak trapped Hashem. Kaviyach, what does that mean? He explains the Apteruv. Yitzchak says, I love, he's my son. Kitzayid b'fiv, there's ensnarement in his mouth, he's trapped, Kaviyach Hashem. There's the following principle that Hashem mirrors us. It says, Hashem tzilcha, Hashem is our shadow. Marin loy etzba, you show a finger, he shows a finger. Two. Hashem mirrors us. There's a very simple reason we have a piece of God inside of ourselves, the neshama. When we express the neshama, Hashem backs it up. When we have an expression of the neshama inside of us, Hashem backs it up. By the way, prayer is wild. Prayer is wild. Prayer, you tell Hashem, Eli, prayer is insane. You tell Hashem, I think you should be nice to him. Hashem knows everything. Hashem wants prayer. He wants an expression of our neshama, and he backs it up. He wants us. He wants me to bring to the world. I see somebody in pain. Azriel's a very sensitive soul. Azriel sees somebody in pain and says, Hashem, this shouldn't be this way. Hashem wants you to bring that to the world. And you're literally, did anybody ever send a text to themselves, like message to self? It's really like an alarm on your phone or a reminder on your phone. Tefillah is giving to Hashem, you're an expression of your neshama. The deepest will, and you're expressing something that Hashem wants brought to the world. Hashem wants your sensitivity. He wants your neshama. You're bringing godliness to this world. He sent you here to express it. When Avram sees Sdaim and Hashem says, don't destroy them, Hashem says, I was waiting for me to say that was a piece of Hashem being expressed in this world. Says the Apteruv, Yitzchak loves Esav, traps Hashem Kaviyachol. What's Yitzchak saying in loving Esav? He's my son. I don't care about his behavior. He brings such nachas, a good boy, a bad boy. He's my son. Vayev Yitzchak Esav, Kitzayid b'fiv, that was an ensnarement, kaviyachol to Hashem. That in some way brings a ruach to the world. We're your children, Hashem. Forces Hashem, say, in life and respect, that causes Hashem to have more rachmanas to us. We're your children, God. Michal, there's a very good story, Shlomo, that I want to say over. David HaMelech had a son called Avshalom. Avshalom was a very complicated son, a wayward son. It was not an achas to David HaMelech. Now, there's a place in Eretz Yisrael called Yad Avshalom. What's the theory? What's Yad Avshalom in Eretz Yisrael? Could somebody look on their phone? Yad Avshalom. What's the claim is there? Yosef, you check it up? Oh, you check it up, Lily. Yad Avshalom.
Yad Avshalom. In Hebrew?
English or Hebrew?
Bosh. A large ancient monument in Jerusalem's Kidron Valley, traditionally identified with the biblical Avshalom. It's a rock.
And what is just the memory of him? What's the claim?
It's a tomb. I don't know.
It's a tomb. It's claimed he's buried there. It says a place, Yad Avshalom, a big rock. He has a picture of it. See it? Show it to Israel. Yad Avshalom is a place in Israel in the Kidron Valley where the claim is Avshalom's buried there. Does any Jew go daven there, Daniel? Avshalom was in Russia. We don't go to Kivrei Rishon. Most people do not pray there. It's not like a big place of prayer. David HaMelech's son, a wayward son who went off today, was a Russian. Now, most people do not pray in Yad Avshalom. The great Rosh Yeshiva of the Mir, my father's Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz, he went to pray in Yad Avshalom. Now, Reb Chaim Shmulevitz went there to pray.
He's not buried there, by the way.
What is the claim?
It's called that. He's not buried there.
It's
called the tomb of Avshalom.
It's called it.
He's not buried there.
Really?
Was Avshalom killed in Kidron?
I don't think so. I don't know. Michal, you know, Reb Chaim Shmulevitz was caught I believe, on multiple occasions going to pray there. Somebody asked, "What are you going to Avshalom?" We don't go to Rishon. We go to Kivrei Tzaddik.
I'm not a bad person at this point.
Yeah, but why are you going to pray there? It's not usually you go to Kivrei Tzaddik and b'schus the tzaddik. Hashem should give you praise. The tzaddik can be amazed. Stop me from Yisrael. He said, Reb Chaim Shmulevitz said to Hashem that this son was a Russian and David HaMelech loved him anyway. There are psukim that David took him out of Shol Tachtiyos, and he said B'ni 8 times, like lifting him up. My son, my son, my son. Reb Chaim Shmulevitz went to Avshalom's kever, and he said to the Rebbeinu Shalom, this father of this child, he wasn't like the dream child, and his father loved him. Hashem, we're your children. Mamish, this Sayyid B'fiv. What?
Water.
What does that mean?
He would have fit in.
Who would have fit in?
Avshalom.
Yes, I didn't know.
No.
What do you mean?
He's not a Russian. I forgot which one where we said someone was a daven by him.
Chaim Shmulevitz. Here we find tzaddikim.
Yeah.
It's not Avshalom.
It's a mix, though. It's a mix.
I only find tzaddikim. I don't find that. I don't look at like that's. We're all like in a journey working. We're in the middle. We're Avram Yitzchak Yankov time. But the kitzer is he would go to he went on a couple of occasions, it seems, to Avshalom's Yad Avshalom, and he said a father loves his son, and he would be mispalel from Yisrael. We're your children, Hashem. We're children. And that's how the Abdu Rav learned this pasuk. Vayev Yitzchak Esav Kitzayid. Shlomo, I don't think the Kitzayid B'fiv was like the reason he loved him. So I don't know how he reads it exact. Ki is not always because. But Kitzayid B'fiv, what comes out is there's an endearment, there's a Tzayid B'fiv. It's the greatest feel of his life. It's a very profound feel of loving this son. This is my child. Whenever we could find that space, this is my son. I'm sorry? It's true. It's true. Very good sushta. Yeah. He's the one who brings this out. Exact. It says that Yitzchak's going to bring us out of the galus, his tefillah. But the Gitzayid B'fiv, he loved Esav, and his love of Esav is we're your children.
Yitzchak tricked them. It's quite a bit different. Different than
Esav tricked him? Yeah. According to the Abdu Rav, that's not what it's saying. Kitzayid B'fiv has nothing to do with Esav tricking him. It's this is my son, and Sayyid B'fiv, he was ensnaring Hashem. Ensnaring means Hashem imitates us. He was bringing a prayer. It's a prayer. Ensnaring just means he brought out.
What was the purpose of the word Kitzayid B'fiv?
Expressing the power of Yitzchak loving Esav. There was a tremendous power.
That would make more sense if it applied to Esav, though, because he was actually trapped.
Prevented or caused what?
According to the Abdu Rav, he was literally ensnaring Hashem.
Originally, it was that Esav was ensnaring Yitzchak, which
Not
makes more
with Abdu
sense.
Rav learns. What Abdu Rav learns
That
is
way it makes
Yitzchak
sense,
was
because Esav
ensnaring
actually
Hashem.
trapped.
He was ensnaring.
Esav actually trapped animals.
Right.
So it would make more sense
But
for him to use that
the
language.
way Rashi is learning Tzayid B'fiv, Rashi doesn't understand anything to do with trapping. He learns he was a trapper with the mouth, which Rashi says Yadei Tzayid, he was
Exactly,
a
so
rapper.
why would you use the word trap if you're not going to apply it to the trapper?
Ensnaring means to
That's
to
the
capture.
same word.
Right, to capture. He was capturing Kaviyachol Hashem. That's what it means, that there was a force of Hashem. That's how the Abdu Rav is reading this.
Kitzayid B'fiv was
The way we bring such a force to the world. That's what prayer is you bring your neshama to the world. And you express that. So Yitzchak brought a certain thing to the world. That's my child. That mitzias and that Hashem, you bring that to the world. That a parent loves their child. Hashem wants us to, Hashem backs us. What we bring, that's tefillah. What we bring, Hashem backs up.
Is what you're saying not that like it's funny that like we're reminding Hashem that He loves us?
According to this, it's not a reminder. Hashem wants human being. He gives us a neshama and says, bring it to the world. I want the expression. I'll back up what your neshama brings here.
It's like it's funny, like the story, like it's like a nice message, but like at the end of the day, like the way that I take it is like always doubting by Russia's caver that like, oh Hashem, we're your children. It's like we suck, but like love us, you know? Like why is it like it's like a weird message that he's giving? Like why is he doubting it at Russia's caver?
I think that was Ma'ira to Reb Chaim. That was Ma'ira the same thing. Reb Chaim wants to bring to the world this mitzias. Going there reminded him a child's a child's a child. And that's what he wants to bring. That's all of prayer is bringing something to this world. So that was Ma'ir Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, who was learned. Going there brought out a child's a child's a child. That was Ma'ir. This I have this Shlomo. I have this pet thing I love seeing. Who was the most hated man in America in the last 20 years, bar none? The most hated American in the last 20 years. I think Madoff. That's my personal opinion. You said his name to people. I think he was the most hated. Is that fair to say, Yitz?
Epstein.
He's up there. He might be. Epstein, he said. He's a hated figure. I have no idea.
Epstein's a child of God as well. His last name is Epstein.
I like that maybe it's but Madoff was a very hated guy. Well, people were upset. People were livid at him. But I love seeing in a trial, if you have the bad guy in a trial, so in the victim's corner, like the gallery at the trial is like packed. Everybody's there. The bad guy, everybody disassociates with. You're out. You're like far up. Next to every bad guy, you could look this up. You could see pictures. You'll rarely find a father. You'll rarely find brothers. There's usually a mother. Next to the bad guy, and it's like brutally embarrassing. You're on the wrong side of the gallery. There's one side that has friends and supporters and the community all come out in force representing the victim. For the bad guy, everybody's out. There's usually a mother who's like stays in the corner. It's like disgraceful. That's my son. Like it's like the worst. But a mother is a mother. That's my child. That's my child. And there's a mother who like stands. I'm not abandoning him. She holds his hand. It's a loyalty that's very, very beautiful to me. There's my child. I'm not writing him off, and I know it's not popular now. I know this won't make me look good. I'm not on the right side. There's my child. There, once in a while, you get the opportunity to like demonstrate that loyalty. I've already gotten a call about a bacher from Eretz Yisrael. Somebody was like very upset at a bacher, and at first you like the tendency is to melt away. Look, we're not so close. It's a cool loyalty when all the chips are down. That's my friend. That's my brother. This Nekuda, that's my child, is Yitzchak Avinu Te'esav. That's what the Apter Rav is saying, and he's bringing a beautiful light to the world. This is my child. A parent stays with his child. Maybe it is. That's my child.
No, it should be you hate the action. You could love the person, but hate the action.
But there's a big light. There's a big light to the world. I'm not totally agreeing to the actions. There's a big light to the world. That's my child. You bring that light to the world. That arouses Hashem. Yeah, exactly. It's amazing Apter Rav. It's amazing.
What's up with the second part of the pasuk though? If it was one pasuk that just said that, I could hear it, understand what Dr. was saying. But then it says that for Rivka, obviously saying that Yitzchak had this servant of Hashem, and then Rivka loves Yaakov.
It's interesting. The contrast though, Raf, that it doesn't say a reason by Yitzchak, by Rivka's love. Rivka's love's understood. Rivka loves Yaakov, Kimuvan. Like Yitzchak's love, what didn't he get rid of it for? Kitzayid b'fiv, you don't get rid of that. That ensnares. You
Because like it's saying that Yitzchak's love of Esau was fake. Yaakov's was there was nothing to it. It was just it was emes. It was
according to the Abdurav, the Kitzayid b'fiv is why didn't he work on that? Stop loving him. The answer is Kitzayid b'fiv. There's a ruach you're bringing to the world. That's what Abdurav is doing. I've told this Abdurav before. I love that.
Rabbi, did Yitzchak know that Esau was from Russia? According to
Abdurav, very much so.
It's not so evident.
According to the Abdurav.
Okay, so it wasn't blind love. You can condemn the actions, but like the person. Okay.
So when Yitzchak was trapping Hashem, he was pretty much saying that as bad as my son will get, he's still my son.
Yes.
And that's what it means trapping Hashem.
Yes. Of course, Hashem, Kaviyach, Hashem wants this. Yeah, of course.
So
that's
why
when we
it's
ever
just a
say
cycle
trapped,
for no reason.
it causes Hashem wants an expression. All our neshamas, Hashem wants an expression.
But you're not trapping. That's Hashem telling you to do something, then you do it, and then you're like, oh, now you have to do it.
That's what Hashem tzilchon. This is Hashem's your shadow. You show a finger, he reflects.
But you're his shadow. You're doing what he told you.
100%.
So there's
That's
a cycle.
inevitable. That's what we are never going to be. Sure.
So Chaim Shmulevitz went to Avshalom's caver, and he said even he's in Russia, he's still...
His father still loved him. That brought out something to Reb Chaim, which brought out, he was bringing out this ruach in the world. Okay, we'll stop here, Chevri. Yashikaya Chevri. Thank you.
Rebbe, you have been more confused than earlier.
Yeah, it's fine. Rabbi, why did he go to Esau's cave?
No. My question is on the first.
Esau started a movement. It's different. He convinced other people to be bad, not just himself.
Rabbi, you share today?
Should I tell you?
You share today?
That's it. I may have to go to the airport.
Rabbi,
I never started so early.
It's got to be shared.
It started like an hour earlier.
They're too Torah. I'm trying to learn tomorrow.
Oh, Rabbi Epstein was fully Jewish.
Don't say that.
He grew up in a fully Jewish gated community.
Who this?
Epstein.
Oh, yeah.
Both his parents are Jewish.
Where you grew up?
Coney Island, I think it said.
I'm Coney Island, Brooklyn.
Gated.
It's a Jewish
No, meaning
gated
Seagate probably. Seagate's gated.
Seagate?
I don't know. Seagate's gated in Coney Island.
Lovely. You were saying how like somebody
Honestly, not that surprised.
and then you open up a little bit. You have someone
Yeah, Seagate at the tip of Coney Island.
Oh, Seagate it says?
being open and you're like used to food.
And his Hebrew name is Yiddo.
Work, you get attached.
It sounds
Even
like
you see, Yitzchak was bringing out to Hashem that even he's a child of God.
Look, who's worse, Rabbi Avshalom or Epstein?
I don't know the whole story. I know he did not nice things. I don't have the whole story. Sounds like a bad guy.
I don't think anyone has the
Is
full
he still
story.
alive? He killed himself.
He was killed. I don't
He was
know.
killed or he killed
They
himself?
say they're releasing it now.
No,
What?
officially he
They're
killed
releasing
himself.
everything now.
Yeah, that's what they say. But.
Officially he committed. Probably did.
Yo, if they put him in
He knew a lot of information on a lot of people.
whatever solitary
1 minute
confinement, they
missing
wouldn't
from
let him
the
commit
cameras.
suicide. He was on suicide watch.
What?
They say the Clintons did it.
Officially he killed himself. Did he actually? Probably not.
Who was president when he was in jail?
Who was president? I think Obama.
Obama. But the Clintons were famous like for being there a lot.
Rebbe, you have me more confused than earlier about Rashi Yaakov's time. If we're relating him to our own life,
Damn, Trump was.
if we're relating him to our own life,
Not when he
then-
died, when he was in jail. Trump.
and we're all more leaning towards Esau
When did
because we're
Jeffrey
living in this
Epstein
world.
die?
It was Trump as president.
Yeah.
Then
2019.